Happy Easter, St. Columbus. I'd like to read the Gospel for this coming Sunday worship and invite your thoughts and reflections, your observations as I prepare to preach on it. And so I'll be reading the Gospel. It's from the Gospel of Luke, chapter 24, verses 36 through 49. Technically, we're supposed to read through 48, but I've added an extra verse. And for just a little bit of context, we're at the very end of Luke's Gospel. We're also just days after Jesus' resurrection, and he has just met with a couple of the disciples on the road to Emmaus and is now encountering the rest of the disciples. And as I read this passage and reflect on it, I invite you to reflect with me and answer a few questions, at least in your own heart and mind, but I'd love to hear from you directly if you have thoughts about this. It would help me shape my words. And you can email me at laughlin@columba.org. That's LLAUGHLIN at columba.org. And as you listen to my reading, what do you notice? And how do the disciples feel? And what feelings does the text evoke for you? How do these words speak to you and your life these days? How is the gospel relevant to our broader situation today, however defined? And lastly, what would you like to hear me address in my sermon on Sunday? So here's Luke chapter 4, beginning at verse 36. While they were talking about Jesus' appearance to them, Jesus himself stood among them and said to them, "Peace be with you." They were startled and terrified and thought that they were seeing a ghost. He said to them, "Why are you frightened? And why do doubts arise in your hearts? Look at my hands and my feet. See that it is I myself. Touch me and see. For a ghost does not have flesh and bones, as you see that I have." And when he had said this, he showed them his hands and his feet. While in their joy they were disbelieving and still wondering, he said to them, "Have you anything here to eat?" They gave him a piece of broiled fish, and he took it and ate in their presence. Then he said to them, "These are my words that I spoke to you while I was still with you, that everything written about me in the law of Moses, the prophets, and the Psalms must be fulfilled." And then he opened their minds to understand the Scriptures. And he said to them, "Thus it is written, that the Messiah is to suffer and to rise from the dead on the third day, and that repentance and forgiveness of sins is to be proclaimed in his name to all nations, beginning from Jerusalem. You are witnesses of these things." And then adding on one more verse, "And see, I am sending upon you what my Father promised. So stay here in the city until you have been clothed with power from on high." The Gospel of the Lord. I'd love to hear your feelings, your thoughts about this passage and what you'd like to hear me address. Happy Easter, dear ones. Happy Easter.